Life.
We're live. Okay.
So, good evening, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Tonight we're gonna have a special live stream, special because it's gonna be in English, comparing to our previous ones, which were in Czech and Slovak. But this time in English. If
někdo
you have
potřeboval
any...
překládat, napište to a my budeme překládat. Budeme dělat pauzy a překládat. Ale jestli to zvládneme v angličtině, bylo by to lepší, aby jsme měli ten správný flow.
Thank you very much. So tonight our guest is Alasdair Bouch, a friend of mine, an amazing musician, lyricist, composer, vocal pronunciation coach.
Oh, amazing!
All that I could find about you, I'm just mentioning now. Apart from that, you're a great singer, wonderful musician, and all the good things we all can imagine about you. If I forgot anything, please.
You
add
just
anything
carry on.
you want. Carry on.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah, it sounds good.
Don't let me stop you.
Okay, tonight with me and Annie, founder of MUSICDOK. Hi.
That's me. Hello.
Okay, so I'll go straight towards our topic, what we're going to talk about tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about songwriting. And Alasdair is going to try to give us some tricks and tips about how to not get lost in songwriting, actually, because I think that's a case for a lot of musicians who decide to write a song. We all have an idea. We have a great message we want to send to people, and then we get stuck in the whole process. So can I ask you, Alasdair, to let's start right with the songwriting, I guess. We'll go through more topics tonight, but I'd like to start with this one. What your process of songwriting looks like?
Well, I come from maybe from the wrong perspective for giving advice, because I wait for the inspiration to come. I don't mind waiting a week or a month when I'm writing my songs. That's probably the thing that most defines my own songwriting process, is that when I get an idea, I work on it. I don't sit down every day. I know some musicians who do sit down every day. They set a time. This is great advice. It might work for you, sit down every morning at a set time with a blank sheet of paper, throw down some ideas, write as much as you can. It doesn't matter if it's bad, doesn't matter if it's, if it makes no sense, just get the ideas out.
Just throw it out there. Yeah,
exactly. Throw it out there, and you might find there are a few gems, a few pearls of wisdom in there that you might want to use for a later song. But in that way, you do get into a habit of songwriting. I mean, I've been songwriting for a long time, a few decades. Like 30.
Let's not reveal the age.
Yeah, I'm not telling you how old. But
just 30, a few years here and there.
I've been writing songs, so like I know I trust my own muse, if you like. So I don't have writer's block because I don't push it. So that's probably my take. But again, as I say, it's an entirely legitimate way to work, to sit down and just work on it like any other job, and that's good. It does. It is a muscle that needs kind of working on. And there are many tools and many systems through which you can kind of process these ideas. And they probably teach that in the conservatories here in Prague, actually. But
can you maybe tell us a difference between the songwriting process, when you work on your own music and you collaborate with other musicians? Is there any difference? Is there a different approach you take?
Yeah, a world of difference. For starters, when I write for myself, I can be as egotistical or not as I like. It's all about me, or rather about my vision of the world, if I want it to be, right? So, you can be as universal as you want, or you can be as like personal and as egocentric as you want, if you like. And there's nothing wrong with either approach. But of course, when I work with another artist, because I do a lot of co-songwriting with other artists, I have to put my ego to the side and listen to what they want to say, and help kind of them to channel express that. Yeah, exactly, and support them in their vision, which again is another kind of skill which which I love because it's really enjoyable to forget about your own ego for a while, you know. So and really try to. That means a lot of listening to them. Hey, what is your story? What do you want to tell the world? You know, what's specific about you that I want to hear? You know, or maybe I don't want to hear. You know, sometimes you know, everybody has their own story. I think that's the probably the best advice I can give right now. Is that only you can tell your story. Only you, because you're unique, can tell your story. And I think that's key to actually what we enjoy about other people's music. If David Bowie was, you know, trying to write like Dylan, or Dylan was trying to write like Leonard Cohen, we
It's
wouldn't
never
enjoy
gonna
it so
have,
much.
yeah, the right. Let me ask you, like, it's not on the list of questions that Dashi has for us, I'm sure. But I'm wondering, you did mention you don't have the writer's blog for reasons you've just mentioned. But do you think that sometimes you even help some people to create a great song and it just get lost because, you know, they don't understand the process of how to then work with the song that you actually create? You know, because we talk a lot about business here and about, you know, how to promote yourself and how to work with what you're creating, how to try to take, you know, pictures and videos while you are creating the song. So you capture the creative process and stuff. But does it happen to you sometimes that you get a bit frustrated that you come up with a great song, you think it's a, you know, spot on banging tune, and then you're like, come on guys, why you didn't do something more?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there have been moments when, you know, each of us have to fight our corner. You know, for example, I might think that this is a great idea because, and they might think, yeah, but I want to go with my original idea because, or whatever, you know, and both, of course, are legitimate entirely. Usually to try to kind of, it happens all the time. So usually to try to work through that is to really try to explain why. And it can be done quite, you know, quite explicitly in songwriting terms. You know, this is why I chose that word over this word, you know, or, you know, of course, most of the people who ask for, you know, songwriting collaborations with me, they are non-native. So sometimes I have to just say, I'm sorry, but we just simply don't say that like that in English. It just doesn't,
Sure.
it just doesn't
Yeah, that
work.
happens.
Yeah. And it's a pity. But then sometimes they come up with a phrase I would never have dreamed about, but it makes perfect sense. And I'm like, that's genius because
we think differently in that language. I do have this problem quite often, or I did when I lived in the UK. We have, for example, we have a saying, you do understand Czech a bit, don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I don't know if you've heard the saying, nedělej z komára velblouda.
Oh,
did you hear it?
I haven't heard that before.
And see, I was trying to translate it and just use it in the conversation, and it basically says, "Don't make a camel out of mosquito."
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, we spent the whole evening debating on whether this is something you would say in English and if it makes sense. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. You know, sometimes we just think differently about, you know, even writing the song because we think this is the way you would actually express it. So.
Well, that's very common that Czech people would bring a Czech phrase or idiom, or even a collocation, you know, in other words, words which are commonly seen together in Czech, and they just literally translate it, and that's what causes the...
Which is like that one, yeah.
So, yeah, again, the other way I try to calm down the situation is just... my approach is that I serve the song. I don't really serve any other master, you know. You know, and that's the key, because the song is the thing which is timeless, you know. The fact that Dylan wrote great songs is great for Dylan, but you know, everybody else can sing them too, and they're still great songs because they're timeless. They have that natural quality that, you know, that really takes your imagination to another place, and that's what makes them amazing songs. So that's always my approach, like try to find a way that that you don't pull people out of the song by being,
they can relate to it.
Yeah, everybody has to be able to, you know, not, I don't have to relate to every song in the universe, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, you want to try to draw people in, not push them away. I think that's really key. And language can do that. And it really can do it, as we know just from conversations with anybody. You know, a turn of phrase can really turn people off, or it can really turn people on. So
yeah, I'm a pro in that one.
Yeah. I'm sure you're not.
Can you tell us something about, for example, you have an idea for the song which came after a week of waiting for the inspiration, right?
Yeah.
And it finally pops up in your mind, and you have an idea. It can be either a melodic idea, or it can be it can be a lyrical idea, or anything that comes to your mind. So you have something you want to start with, right? So how do you start the whole process, and what are the next steps you take from that point when you get the initial idea?
Well, the first thing I'd say is, like, write it down and record it straight away, because I can't tell you how many great ideas I've had for a song and gone to make a cup of tea, and by the time I'm back in my table,
sure, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great point. You know, when you have this germ of an idea, kind of sit on it like a chicken, you know, and grow, and keep that egg warm, and keep it growing, and keep it in your brain, and think about what other little ideas come off it, you know, because you can work on it in that sense. Like, if you've got a really core great idea, just, you know, you don't have to force it. Just think about what relates to that, and then, you know, build it that way. I mean, it's, of course, we're talking about lyrics and or music. So, and, you know, there are underlying rules to music, and there are underlying rules to lyricism. They can all be broken. But in general, if you want a hit pop song, you know, you tend to follow more kind of standard rules and that sort of thing. You know, that idea of taking the germ of an idea to the next level is really just about kind of imagining yourself. You put yourself in that situation of that person, whether it's you or someone else, and think, what would I do next? Or what happened just before this? How did we get to this situation, you know, and how do I get out? Or all of the question words. So what, why, when, yeah, all of these question words, you can apply it to any situation, and then suddenly your brain goes off in that direction. Oh yeah, it happened because of this. So how am I going to tell that part? Or, you know, how am I going to get out? Oh yeah, maybe I'm trapped, or maybe I could try this way, and then your lyrical direction goes that way. So I think the question words are really great for whenever you're stuck, whenever you've got that writer's block, is to, you know, just imagine yourself in a situation. Don't stress about it, and just start asking yourself these questions.
So before we get on to another question, I'm wondering, are you one of those who prefer to start with the sound, or one of those who prefer to see the lyrics first? Or perhaps if it's just, you know, I have some people around me who are inspired even by the most awkward sounds, and they inspire them to create a song. So they don't necessarily start on a piano or by singing a melody or something, but they just hear a sound, and that just gives that, you know, initial idea. So which way do you prefer to work? From what you're saying, I think you're more of starting with the music than adding the lyrics.
Actually, I take it any way it comes, you know, like, you know, sometimes I'm just, actually, you know, the strange thing is I get most of my best musical ideas when I'm sound checking for a gig. And, you know, the last time you want a great idea because you're about to go on stage and you really want to concentrate on that. And then suddenly,
and there's no way you can record it at that point.
And you can't record on the phone. And, you know, and you're they're like, okay, now guitar. And then you start just playing a riff without even thinking about it. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know? Like, I really hope, and of course, you always forget it. But
you need that thing, you know, what is it called? Zoom or something? Zoom, I think. Is that little thing that is recording, you know, the sound that is happening all around in the room.
Right.
Yeah, that would help you.
Quite often, and, you know, I'll forget that idea completely, and I'll be like, damn.
Well, see, this is a solution. You know, start your sound checking thing, just switch it on and let it be.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
the funny thing is, when I go and do the next sound check, I often remember it, and I'm like, that's that song again, you know. This time I'm going to remember it, you know. But yeah, so actually, no, I take it, you know. Sometimes it's a phrase, and I play with that phrase musically in my head, you know, because language, of course, has its own music usually, and you know, it's funny, like. The rhythm of words, you know, languages are very different, you know, but usually there's some what we call stress timing. So for example, the word like Constantinople already has a musicality to it. You know, Constantinople, you know, which is why there's a song, right? Because yeah, and so you get the song, you can get a phrase in your head and then just work on that phrase, and that becomes a melody, you know. So
yeah.
But yeah, for me, it can. I take it however it comes. I don't question it. You know, I just work with it. So,
well, that's good.
Thank you. I'd like to go on a little bit, and I have an idea. I'm gonna play one of your songs. We're gonna listen to it, and then can you tell us about the process of writing that song? Maybe, you know, how you started, how you developed the idea, and, you know, like how you worked on this one. Maybe it's gonna be interesting for people to
if I
listen
remember
to. Well, yeah, you have a few minutes to.
That's what you want.
Okay,
yeah,
let me just put it on.
Why musicians cannot do anything without that sound, you know. Let's just put it on.
Okay, for some reason I can't hear it.
Neither can I. We're trying this for the first time, so mimochodem, kdybyste, dámy a pánové, kteří se koukají, kdybyste preferovali, aby jsme překládali nebo se snažili mluvit česky všichni, tak se o to můžeme pokusit. Pokud máte nějaké otázky, tak se neváhejte ptát. Dneska si povídáme o tom, jak se skládá hudba, co inspiruje skladatele první, jestli je to text nebo hudba samotná a tak dál. Takže pokud máte nějaké otázky, ptejte se. That was supposed to fill the gap, you know, so the sound comes on. I don't know how you guys, but I can hear the sound.
I can't hear it, but I think you managed to make it work last time, Dasha. But anyway, they get to see the nice visuals that I shot.
I'm sorry.
Well, you just sing along. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
Just sing along. Come on. Show you're a pro. Grab your guitar.
I'm sorry. I have to do it again.
That's right.
Alasdair, now you have even more time to think about the process.
Well, I could talk about it a little bit, you know, if we're waiting.
I have it all covered now. I'm sorry. I just have to do it differently.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Share the screen.
So before it pops up, just so we fill the time, what do you prefer to release the songs on your own in your own production, or do you prefer to work with an indie label or some major label, perhaps? How do you find the difference between, you know, those sort of collaborations?
Sure, I've always gone the DIY route. That's just kind
DIY.
of. I prefer to retain all
your rights
and masters and everything. That's me. It's not for everybody. I mean, obviously, there are many great reasons to join majors and indies, and many of the people I write with are. So, you know.
I remember seeing some interviews with, I'm not going to say who exactly, just in case, whatever. But I remember seeing some interviews with major bands, and they were talking about how disappointed they were that they created a song and they thought it's absolutely amazing. And then they just, you know, send it to the record label. And they were like, yep, that's great. Okay, leave it with us. And then they just, you know, release the song, but in a completely different sound, in a completely different setting of everything, you know, and that it was, they felt really violated.
Sure.
You know, like, because they spend the time on creating something and getting the message right and the sound and everything. And then obviously the big guys in the big, you know, chairs, they just decided it's not quite right for the mainstream, and they stripped it down to the basics and edit, the cheesy productions and stuff. So I think, as I said at the beginning, we try to talk about things that people can relate to, that they can perhaps find their way, if they want to be a major or indie label artist, or if they want to go with the DIY route. So we are trying to compare all these and talk about the positives and negatives of all these different areas.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to hear someone talking about what's their preferred way and why.
Well, I think that the wonder of the internet has really made a level playing field in many ways. You can have a hit with just from your bedroom, so that's not to say it's a guarantee, but it's certainly it's easier to make a mark. But the fact that Spotify just released the number of songs that they put up in one day, it's a terrifyingly
What's
high.
the number? I didn't
it's
catch
something like
that
60,000 songs a day or something ridiculous like that. I forget.
Yeah.
But it's very high. So obviously the easier it is, the easier it is for everybody. So you still have to make your song stand out, and of course
you have a lot of competition.
Yeah, but that's where your marketing and your
See, but this is the thing. Like every time I talk to musicians, even of really good musicians, every time I talk with them about business, it seems to be like a dirty word. Like, oh, I'm an artist. I don't do business. Don't talk to me about business.
No, you are a business.
It's just you have to include that in the package and understand how the marketing and promotion works in order to get your song out there. And obviously nowadays you can pay different companies to help you with that. But if you don't have that sort of budget, and if you don't have the right contacts, so they can push you, it's just so you call, hey mate, I've just done that. Can you push it? It's just not as simple as it was back in the day, that you push the records in that way to the radios and then stuff. So you have to understand the business. Right. So clearly you do if you do everything DIY.
Yeah, it is enormously exhausting though, and I think there is it's very tiring to do everything by yourself. So I think you have to kind of choose your battles a little bit, and also manage your expectations and that sort of thing. But if you I became what we call like a middle-class musician, in the sense that I'm not a big deal, but
oh come on.
No, but I can make a living from it. So it's what we call kind of middle-class musicians. And you can pitch to Spotify by yourself from your bedroom.
Yeah, you can.
There are these options now, which is amazing. It's really amazing. But it's really important to take care of your mental health, for example, and that's another thing. Especially if you're a precious musician, it's a hard road. So there's so many things. There's not just writing the song and recording it. There's marketing, PR, photos, videos, so many different things. And I think it's key to kind of have your community around you. It's no man is an island, as I always say. There are groups, there are people who will help, and it's important. I'm quite stubborn about that with my own music. I like to do everything by myself, and it is exhausting, but I've had so much help from other people that it's it would be rude to say I've done it all by myself. So I think it's important to reach out to really, there is a scene in your town, wherever you are, whether you like it or not, and whether you know them or not, try to reach out to that scene, because the more people get together, the more they can talk about your music, you can talk about their music, and, suddenly your bedroom, pop song doesn't seem so small. So, and it's also good for mental health, because, you get to talk about the struggles.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, it really is. So I think that's a strong part of it. But yeah, as I say, we say back in the day it was so much easier. They would just push.
It was easier in a way. I mean, it was more straightforward. Nowadays I think you have to really pay attention and be prepared. You have to you have to see what are the new ways of, you know, releasing your song, and
Right.
the new companies that are here. It's not just, you know, back in the day you had A&R, for example.
Yeah.
No one really does A&R anymore because they are, you know, all these scouts, they are just looking for the package that is made. You know, even if you look at someone like Adele, you know, I mean, she had massive following at the time they've picked her, and she was just perfect at the time for the market. You know, if you compare her image and everything, and her voice, obviously, and the song and the feel and yada yada, to what was there at the moment, she just perfectly fitted in. But it must be said, she was gigging a lot. She was recording, and she had a following. And there was a lot of responses on her performance at the time as it was. And that's what the companies are now looking for. I mean, recording companies, you know, they don't, you know, if we go to someone like, let's say, the Temptations, right? My girl, talking about my girl. That tune is like from them. When they were starting, it was pretty much at the same time as the Supremes and stuff, but there was a company that was ready to pay attention to them and to work with them and to work on their songs and their way of expressing the songs and, you know, everything. But it's just different now.
Yeah, but then
you
again,
have to be more looped in.
Sure, but then again, the pool was much smaller in those days, so the amount of bands that were actually able to get record deals was much smaller, in the sense that, you know, yeah. So
I mean, to me, to get a record deal is not necessarily the winning lottery ticket thing.
Sure. Yeah,
I
absolutely
was actually really very close to recording with Jamiroquai, which sounded amazing at the time. But then when I read the contract and saw what everything can happen if I go that road, I was like, really?
And that's why you have to get a music lawyer, kids.
That's why we are here, you know. That's why we have a whole bunch of lawyers behind us, you know, that can help you if you have any question. If you ever actually get into the situation, and I'm not talking to our viewers, if you ever get into the situation where you just don't know if to sign a contract or not because you just simply don't understand what are the limits of the legal things that are being said, we are here to help you with that. And I'm just stalling for time. I mean, is it working? Is the clip working now?
Yeah. It's ready now.
Well, let's see then.
Okay, let's listen to Alasdair's song, which is called "Out of My Mind."
There's a nice quiet part at the beginning. Don't worry. Me being arty.
Oh.
You were easy on the eye, but hard on the heart. It took a lot of work, but you're a work of art. Yeah. Thought I'd be a leading man, but you played the whole cards. Sure, I was a blast, now you're a blast from the past. I was building bridges while you're putting up fences, that you could burn them all down with no consequences. You'd apologize with a batter your lashes, leave me standing dazed in a pile of hot ashes. You'd be doing fine if I could take a guess. You cross my thoughts now less and less. You must be out of my mind. You must be out of my mind.
It's beautiful, by the
Been
way.
so long blindsided.
It's the kind of thing I'm listening on Spotify.
You must be out of my mind. You were my rock when we were on a roll. We hit the fast lane, but we paid a toll. Yeah. Had a lot of dreams, and we got nothing done. till the screaming stopped, sure had a fall. But even when it hit me, it was just a flame. Still couldn't say that I'd change a thing.
Well, I have to admit it has quite
Got no
memorable,
regrets, baby, I'm
you know, melody
okay.
line already.
Thank
I
you.
could easily join in.
You're a little piece of
You're good.
history in the
How long is it for you?
making. Doing fine
A
if I
few
can
more
take
of those
it.
in front of the artist, obviously.
Cross my thoughts now, let's you must be out of my mind. You must be out of my mind. Being so long blindsided by your lies. You must be out of my mind. Must have been out of my mind. Must have been out of my mind. Took so long this time to realize, and now you're out of my mind. Now you're out of my mind. Now you're out of my mind.
It's really sweet.
Now you're out of my mind.
My fingers are actually moving all this time on the glass. It's
I
beautiful.
don't normally have to sit and listen to my own songs.
Beautiful.
I said
blushed a
let's
bit.
strip you naked.
I beg your pardon?
With the song, obviously.
Yeah.
I would hate it to
Beautiful,
actually
beautiful,
sit like
beautiful.
this and had to watch one of my.
Right.
I
Yeah.
would be so shy.
That's okay. I try to, think about
Hide
it.
it behind the camera.
Okay, for those who joined us later, tonight we're talking to Alasdair Bouch, singer, songwriter, musician, lyricist, composer, and all the other great things. So we just listened to your song, Alasdair, and I'd love to.
A já to jenom přeložím. Ty, co se připojili teďka, povídáme si s Alasdair Bouch o tom, jak se píšou písničky. Teď jsme si zrovna poslechli jednu z jeho písniček. Pokud byste preferovali, abychom překládali nebo mluvili česky, tak se budeme snažit, napište to, ale když tak se pokusíme spíš dodat subtitles, titulky později. Každopádně můžeme pokračovat.
Thank you. So can you tell us more about the process, the songwriting process of this particular song that we just heard? What was the process? If you remember, I hope you do. Maybe what was the initial idea again, and what was the process? What were the changes? Maybe as you were going through the whole songwriting process.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one was probably one of those songs that just came right out, So, if you're lucky, you get these songs which you feel like you're just channeling. You don't really write them; they just come out of you. And then next morning, you wake up and you think, "Who wrote that?" This is one of those songs. I didn't have to work very hard at it, but I think. Not trying to sound great or anything. It's really just one of those things where you're just inspired and you kind of just pours out of you. But again, it was quite an emotional song. So, and that's where I get this song. So, but I mean, from a songwriting point of view, it's not terribly complex. The rhyming scheme is not very complex. What I like to do is play with words a lot in my own songs, and in other people's songs if they let me. So there's a lot of wordplay in there. There's a lot of literary devices that I use. So a lot of repetitive sounds like hard on the heart. This sort of thing. There's that whole line, "It sure was a blast, now you're a blast from the past," is kind of a play on the words on the word blast, that sort of thing. So I'm doing a lot of wordplay, a lot of that sort of thing. But as for the structure, you know, it's pretty straightforward. You know, a couple of verses, a pre-chorus. For songwriters or budding songwriters, a pre-chorus is great, you know, because you get to, it's known as the lift as well. It's another word for the pre-chorus. And it really creates kind of anticipation, you know, and builds a little bit of tension, you know. You know, using some of these tricks about the structure of song and that sort of thing. But there's no major like middle eight or anything like that. You know, there's the one trick that I do quite a lot in my songs, which I employ in this song, is apart from the fact "out of my mind" makes you think that I'm crazy or something, but the whole idea is that, you know, I've stopped thinking about someone, so they're out of my mind, and but then there's a twist towards the end when I repeat the chorus, when I say actually maybe I must have been out.
That's a great twist. I like that.
Again. Yeah, so that's something quite often that you can do with choruses or even in verses, by taking already what is an established phrase or something and then flipping it at the end to make people think, oh, really, it was like this, or maybe, oh, that's completely different to what I expected from the rest of the song. But maybe that's enough. I don't know. What else do you
No, it's interesting. This is exactly what I wanted to hear, like how you worked with the whole idea, because I actually realized this is a really nice word play throughout the whole song, and I like that. And I just wanted to know what's your maybe a tip how to start actually thinking that way, you know, how to start doing it, like play with the rhythm of the word or of the with the meaning of the word, and how to twist it, or what are your ways?
I can teach you a whole bunch of ways. There's many different ways. There's a few of them which you'll already know, like, but there are literary devices that you can use, like, which is basically poetry. You know, so of course, you know, the typical ones are like similes and metaphors. So, you know, I have a song which goes, autumn falls sudden like a stone, you know, so that's a like or as is simile. Metaphors, have a song which says your arms are bands of iron, you know, so like that sort of thing. So without saying like or as, but your arms are iron, you know, that sort of thing. So there's lots of that going on. You can make, there's a phrase which is beautifully long called anthropomorphism, which is when you give things human characteristics. So a song of mine says, the north wind held its breath. So, you know, you give the wind like human feeling. All of these are very emotional things, you know, they're really key to drawing in, like drawing pictures in other people's minds, actually, you know. So that's one. There's lots of things like synecdoche and metonymy, which is basically changing, like when you say that a car is your wheels. I've got the wheels outside. Well, it's a part of the car, you know, but we call it the wheels, you know. That sort of thing. They're all kind of descriptive things, which again are not the obvious thing. If you say I've got the car outside, it's not quite as exciting as saying, man, I got the wheels outside, you know?
Yeah, because it kind of lacks the chance to imagine something.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you know, imagine
the
like
interaction.
You're painting with a picture. You know, one thing that I tell all the songwriters that I coach is that don't waste a word in your song. Every line has to count. It has to be all killer, no filler, you know, because you've only got, say, like 30 lines in a song if you're being brief, or not even actually. That might be quite wordy for some people. So make every line count, and not just that, but make every line build on the next line, you know. So or rather other way around, every line has to build on the former. So, you know, so you don't, you know, it's like you're building a puzzle, right? And you put a piece of puzzle with each line until finally you get the whole picture at the end, you know. So you know, there's many famous examples of repetition, for example, which is a great oratory technique where you repeat the same thing, like I don't like to quote him, but Winston Churchill we will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them on the landing grounds, that sort of thing. You know, that you keep repeating a phrase, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and it sticks in your head. You know, so I mean, there are so many different literary devices that you can use to give color to your lyrics, and we're not just talking about English. Obviously, we're talking about every language in the world has these.
Czech is so difficult to write, you know, like lyrics, and like I really do admire anyone who writes a song in Czech, because like I tried it a few times, and that's just so hard. It really is. It's much easier in English. It sort of rhymes better, and it has, you know, the flow and stuff. Czech is difficult. It's like there's no other word for it.
There are linguistic reasons for that, but we don't have to get into that now. But definitely, different languages have different flows, and because, you know, for example, rock, you know, it's basically an American idiom, you know, and of course then you can take that backwards through blues and that sort of thing, and further back from there. So you know, we are largely talking about, you know, an English-speaking idiom, actually. So
well, apparently Elton John, when he was starting, he was told that his pronunciation is too British, should I say? British. And that he should add a bit of a American flavor to his, you know, singing style. And funny enough, I remember I actually started my career in Scotland, and then I went down to South England in Southampton, and, you know, perform all over the world. But the thing is that I've been always, like, you know, told that it's a bit of a American twang with a Scottish and like slang and British grammar. It's really difficult, but it's so important, because the way you pronounce the words when you sing, it just sort of, you know, it's like a sugarcoat. It just sort of creates the whole vibe. And sometimes it fits, you know, the music style that you're doing, especially if it's like a rock music or maybe punk or something, you know, you can get away with much more than if you go with the mainstream, which is expecting of you certain kind of, you know, things. Sure. And the same goes with every language, though. If you have a dialect that is too strong, it just, you know, it's just not going to succeed. It's strange, this thing. Dialects and, you know, just the way we pronounce even our own native language, even, you know, this.
I mean, personally, I'd like to hear you singing with a Scottish
accent. I'll tell you a funny thing. Yeah, a lot of people were trying to guess where I'm from, and you would never guess what country it is, or would you?
Me personally, where you're from?
Just based on the way we talk right now.
Well, I mean, you have a Czech name, but I shouldn't be thrown off by that, right?
No, just
I presume that you were Czechoslovak, actually, but I don't know. I have no idea where you're from.
I always get Alaskan.
Do you? Interesting.
Seriously, out of all the accents that exist, I don't really know what Alaskan is, but apparently you hear that right here.
Apparently,
somewhere in Europe.
And then I got Missouri twice.
Did you? Well, I'm something of an accent sponge, so if I spend too much time with Scottish people, I end up sounding Scottish. And
I don't use a Scottish dialect, but I do use the slang. So I would say something. I need a wee bit of that, and people go like, "What? So where did you get that?" So I do use some terms, you know, but they use the F word a lot.
So anyway, I think it's really interesting how you can work with any language, and I think you focus on that, Alasdair, right? Like whoever you're working with, you focus on how to make it sound beautiful and how to make the lyrics and the voice complement the music, right? That's sure. The point. But I have a question.
Sometimes the dialect actually works with, you know, the melody or something.
It can.
It's not necessarily a rule that you have to go with an American accent to make a song sound great.
Yeah,
Sometimes
sure.
it's actually the trick that you can use the way you speak, the way you project the words and pronounce things. It just makes that one special, package that no one else can reproduce.
Exactly.
So don't be shy away from being who you are,
Right.
just because you feel
One,
it.
it's
And I
probably
interrupted you.
no. I think probably answering both of you for both of your comments there. When I'm working, because I do vocal pronunciation for singers as well, who are singing in English, so particularly non-native singers. And one of the things I'm really careful not to do is to take the color out of their voice. That's what really makes them unique. And basically what I'm trying to do is make them understandable. That's the key. That's number one. So obviously the lyrics have to be fixed first. If it doesn't make sense, if the rhythm isn't right in English and the flow isn't there in English, you wouldn't be able to sing it well, even if you tried. Even if I wouldn't be able to sing it well, no English person would. So but the key, I think, is to get basically it's down to how you form the words in your mouth at the end of the day.
How you project it.
Yeah, and how you sing it, and that sort of thing. So your throat and the way you hold your tongue and your mouth and that sort of thing. So and that can be taught. That's not rocket science. So
Sorry.
No, just to say,
No, I just wanted to ask you, because I know that you do this pronunciation coaching, right? And part of your work, apart from being a musician and songwriter, is helping people with pronunciation and the wording, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
I just wanted to ask you, if I hired you as my
coach,
as my helper, as a person who's going to help me with songwriting. I have an idea for a song, right? And I mean, I have some lyrical ideas. I maybe have some main melody line, or I don't know, bits here and there. And I hire you as my coach, as my helper. What would be the process like? Like, what would we start with? And I just want to know about your work a little bit, because I've seen you work with my boyfriend a lot of times, but that's a different kind of collaboration. But I'm a different kind of songwriter. I might need other things. So what's your approach on the needs of the people that hire you?
Well, the first thing that I do with any artist, and it's the same with every single artist, is I make sure they protect their copyright. That's absolutely number one thing. Before I even touch the song, I say, send me the demo, send me the lyrics, and protect your copyright. You need to have that written down or recorded, because then I can't steal it. And I'm not going to steal it, but you know what I mean? This is a thing that everybody has to do before you even think about sharing it with another songwriter or record label or whatever. I'm so passionate about this that I can't say it enough. Protect your copyright. Always.
Okay. Let's stop it right here, because I actually did talk about this topic quite a few times before. How do you protect your copyright? And I'm asking you how you do it.
How I personally do it. Well, actually, the interesting thing about copyright is that it's yours, whether you like it or not. So, as soon as you have an idea for a song, and legally speaking, as soon as you notate it or you record it and you have it in a kind of physical form, then you've already got that copyright. It's a bit like having a child. You can't choose to be the father or not.
Can be stolen though.
Yes, it can. That doesn't matter, but it can be. Well, it does matter. It can.
It doesn't matter.
But what I mean from a legal standpoint, it's yours. So that is your intellectual property. So that is yours. So ideally, personally, I if I write a new song or something, I either email it to myself. So I've got like an email time signature on it. But of course, I usually, when I finish the song, the first thing I do is register it with a performing rights organization, because they're the official people who tell you. Right? So, if you feel like you've got a finished song, and if you're not a member of a performing rights organization, please join them. They're very easy to join. It's literally the simplest thing in the world, and it's the thing which is probably, if you're a songwriter, is going to change your world. Like, you know, copyright is absolutely essential. So yes, that's the answer to that.
And I will actually add this, and I will mention this every single time we will talk about this topic.
Yeah.
The best way, ladies and gentlemen, to protect your own music, your lyrics, your song, whatever, is to save it on USB, print out the lyrics, print out the music sheet, whatever you write, the chords. I can't read notes, so I can't write down, so I would record it. But anyway, you just do any sort of, you know, like a version of this on paper or on a little USB. And then you go to post office and you post it back to yourself.
And don't open it.
And never open it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the best way to do a copyright, because eventually, okay, then I'll maybe talk to you and we will start collaboration and whatever. The song is going to become a huge hit. And then you'll go like, yeah, but I wrote it, you know, from the beginning. You just came with a little ooh-ah idea and I just did the whole whoosh thing.
Yeah.
I can actually then come to the judge and gave him an envelope, which is sealed.
Yeah.
And most importantly, which has a stamp from an office that is being accepted. So an email is not quite just enough.
No,
it could be very easily, you know, attacked by hackers and stuff that, you know, they will just come and say, you know, you could just fake it. So this is a way you cannot fake it. You have a little paper from the post office that you have posted it on that and that date. You have a stamp, you have signature, then you receive it. Never open it, but you receive it. So you have another signature, you have another paper, blah, 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 blah. The whole process is about just having a proof that is acceptable by the court. And this is the simplest and cheapest way to protect your own music. And I will repeat it every time. I'm sorry, I'm boring, I know. But yeah, it's all about musician, you know. It's really all about that, knowing how to swim in this deep sea of business.
I think I did that with my first album. I actually sent it to my lawyer as well.
Well done. Yeah.
I said, don't open it. Don't open it.
Never open to me. Yeah. No, but it's
amazing.
important because like sometimes you really don't know what's going to happen with the song.
So,
yeah. Let's I don't know, someone like Billie Eilish, right? They just co-wrote something with her brother and blah blah blah. I mean, you could. It has earned millions and millions, you know, all these tracks. So once it actually becomes an issue, then a little detail like that of proving if you wrote it or someone else did, it's really important. So please don't underestimate all these registering things.
Yeah, definitely.
Important.
Okay, so we took care. We take care of the copyrights. What's the next step when we're collaborating?
Yeah, so usually I prefer to work face to face. So even on Skype it works, you know, because you can really ask all the questions you want to ask. And for me as a co-songwriter, if I was working in your song, obviously the first thing I would try to do is take a walk in your shoes, you know, to find out what do you feel like, what is it that you really want to say, and that sort of thing. If I don't get that from the song immediately anyway, you know, of course it depends what level the song is at, you know, if it's nearly finished or whatever. Sometimes songs just need a bit of cosmetic correction, which is, I call it cosmetic correction, where you're just really, you know, fixing the grammar, making sure that the beats are in the right place and that sort of thing. Obviously, sometimes it needs a little bit more work, and I try to encourage the songwriter themselves to come up with other ideas. And if they're stuck, you know, then I come up with some ideas and that sort of thing. So, you know, again, for me, it's just key that I'm speaking in their authentic voice. If I have to write something for them, so I run it by them. You know, is this something you would say, or is this actually how you feel? And if not, we'll take another pass at it. So, I mean, that's important to me, that it doesn't just sound like, you know, Alasdair Bouch singing singing one of Alasdair Bouch songs. Yeah,
I still have the the melody in my head, actually, in my. What we were playing, and then
Oh, just sing it to me.
Is it on Spotify?
It's on
What's from-
Spotify. It's on I use Bandcamp because I think they're one of the best things out there. But
Yeah, it's amazing.
You really?
Yeah.
I'm a Spotify girl.
yeah, but I mean, I use it for my own. I mean, to promote my own music because obviously we get more money from that.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. Look at that. Like live. Follow.
Oh, thank you, a new listener.
Nice one. Look,
There's a
look.
playlist.
I'm actually adding it into my favorite songs.
Oh, thank you. There's a
It's
playlist.
gonna go
actually.
there with James Bay and all these guys.
Oh, cool. That's good company. There's a playlist.
All right.
If you go to my Spotify thing, you can go to the playlist. There's one for the ballads, which is Chilling with Al, I think, and there's one for all the harder rocking songs, which is
I can see
something
that.
like Rocking with Al.
And
so
Do you know actually nice artwork as well? Well done.
Thanks.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I am. I
Oh, we're
sound like
running
a
out of time.
policeman the whole night because I'm just saying, okay,
cool.
let's go to another question. Let's blah, blah, blah.
We're having
But
fun
we
here.
have to
Come
Come on,
finish
babies,
soon.
come.
So,
I know.
I'm
I know
sorry.
We do. I know we do.
But Alasdair, is there anything you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to promote? Anything you'd like to let people know if they need your help? How to reach out to you? Like what kind of collaboration you do over these COVID times? Anything you want to share? Just feel free because we'll have to finish soon.
Well, there's lots happening at the moment. Sure, I just released a single with the wonderful singer-songwriter Anna Bekarova, who's just got a beautiful voice, and it's my first ever proper featured duet. And so you can hear that. It's on Spotify, obviously. It's called Storm in a Coffee Cup. And I couldn't imagine anybody else singing on that song, and I basically wrote it for her. So I'm really
It's a nice name, by the way. Storm in the Coffee Cup.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I'm really
I'm a tea girl.
into that. Yeah, I'm a coffee guy. In English, so I drink
Yorkshire tea. Sorry, love.
Yorkshire. My friend works for Yorkshire tea. Another
Very specific.
Yeah. There's there's so many people that I work with. I would really recommend listening to Tom Artway. I think he's amazing. If you haven't heard him, THOM Artway. He's great. We've been working on a new album together. There's a great artist from Brazil who's kind of jazzy composer called Daniel Santiago. And tomorrow, that is March the 11th, he has a song out that I worked with him on with a very special guest.
Okay, you have to send it to us and we will share it for you.
Yeah, we'll share it.
Super
seriously.
excited about that. It's not a secret, but you check it out, and it's got he's amazing. He's a really super nice guy. So that's coming out tomorrow. Check it out.
Amazing.
That's called Open World. I'm super excited about that.
I'm gonna have to buy the little, funfair, going like
Yeah.
every time our guest speaker says something amazing.
But I'm also talking way too much. So, but yeah, there's just try to.
That's why we called you.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Yeah, exactly.
So support your local artists. I think that's really key. I hope I try to put that out there today. Support your local artists. Go out there, listen to them, buy them if you can. Have a look on Bandcamp because they'll make a lot of more money that way. It's a cost of a cup of coffee to buy something. So listen to that. Sorry,
or tea.
Yeah. I think I'm just more salty. I don't know.
So you're being so focused on the coffee thing.
On the coffee.
Anyway, well,
are you taking any? I'm sorry. Are you taking any new people for collabs on songs or albums or stuff?
Hit me up on Facebook if you're on Facebook, or just drop me you can message me even on Instagram, I think these days, but I don't know. And but otherwise we can probably put my email in the thing underneath.
We can indeed.
And
whatever you want, we will do for you. We love helping people, and I'm sure we're just doing our website up a little bit. We had some technical issues, but we will definitely put a link on Alasdair or what?
Alasdair.
Alasdair. You prefer
See,
it.
perfect
Alasdair.
pronunciation. What a great pronunciation coach I am.
Alasdair. We shall put you on our website as well with your
Thank you.
videos and stuff. So obviously, if someone needs a bit of a coaching and help, you will always find way to you.
Thank you. Thank
All
you for
right,
this.
so-
It's been a pleasure to talk with you and meet you. What lovely people you are.
Thank you so
Honestly.
much for making time for this whole live stream. It was such a pleasure. Tonight we were talking with Alasdair Bouch and with Annie Black-Cherna, and we're looking forward to the next week's live stream, which is going to be with the winner of our giveaway we did in, I don't know now, December or January, I think December, Martin Shevchik. So he's going to tell us something about
December. Yeah,
December.
but we actually do have a competition coming up as well.
Yeah, we do.
For the students.
We'll post some more information about it soon. So we're looking forward to the next live stream. Thank you, Alasdair, for making time again and for sharing your wonderful know-how and your tips and tricks. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you both. Have a lovely
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
Bye-bye.
time. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Ciao.